An ongoing challenge for people supporting individuals who are learning to communicate using aided symbols, pictures, graphic symbols, whole written words, is the need to predict and provide sufficient vocabulary to both meet their present communication requirements and to stimulate further development of their communication and language skills. This module is intended to provide a brief introduction and learning opportunity for CBE staff who are responsible through their daily interactions for impacting the language development and communication interactions of students with complex communication needs. A child who uses speech will independently select the words she wishes to use from the vast array of words she hears every day. A child who uses augmentative communication will independently select the words she wishes to use from the vocabulary other people have chosen to model and for aided symbols made available for her to use. Consider how most children learn to speak, use language to successfully communicate. They are surrounded by examples of others using the communication and language system they are learning, immersed from birth in a rich environment of language users, modeling the words, how to put words into sentences, how to interact, how to adjust to understand and get their message across successfully. Models occur when people are speaking directly to the child, and also when others are communicating in the presence of the child, and from media. The importance of participation in an environment with experiences of language used interactively is also reflected in immersion approaches to second language teaching. Students learning to use aided symbols frequently experience a significant discrepancy between the language used by others in their environment, that being speech, and the language they are expected to use, that being visuals. This means the student needs to translate their experiences of how others use spoken language into a different language form for expressive communication. Our objective is to create environments that support the child's development of communication and language, both receptively and expressively, using the tools that they are learning to use. Students require opportunities to experience their language being used by others so they can learn. Our aim is to create a language learning environment with more balance in the way we communicate and the way we are expecting our students to communicate. The first step is to have the tools available at all times so that you can point to pictures while you talk. Depending on the student's individual needs and current skills, there are a wide variety of AAC tools that you can use the strategy of aided language modeling. Some students might have low-tech flipbooks. You might want classroom tools such as large wall charts for group situations or larger spaces like gymnasiums or activity rooms. Simple and specific vocabulary might be more appropriate for some students in certain situations or interactions. Tools might include core boards, topic-specific language boards, and wall charts, flip communication or pod books, language systems on iPads or tablets. Aided language modeling is the strategy that the adults use with any of these AAC tools to teach the students vocabulary, how to use the system itself, how to use it for communication purposes. Be intentional to model the use of the communication tools that your students are learning to use. Point to symbols while you talk so the student can learn what the pictures mean and how to use them to communicate. Let's watch it in action. Focus on what the adult is doing. In this example, the teacher speaks with her student while pointing to pictures to model where to find the words in his speech-generating communication device.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Kendall, you told me, you said you were tired today, huh?
I'm tired.
I wonder why. I have a question. Why are you feeling tired?
I'm tired.
Why are you tired?
In this next example, the teacher models some core vocabulary to introduce a game.
All right, are you ready? We are going to play a game. We're going to have some fun. I like this to play this game. Are you ready?
Yes.
Who's going to go first?
Me.
Who's going to go first? You or me? Who should go first?
This next video is a great example of our teacher and a sports staff using aided language modeling to comment and ask a question at circle time.
I wonder what you see.
Is it I?
A blue horse. A blue horse looking at me. Nice job.
Pointing to pictures while you talk sounds easy enough, but it is a new habit and in practice can seem awkward. In this next video clip, I model aided language using a POD communication book. Pointing to pictures that match the purpose of my message and the message itself are important with this tool. The slower pace allows time for the student to process both the pictures and the message.
I have something to say. More to say. I'm asking a question. What are we going to do today?
The number of pictures pointed to while speaking is directly related to the language skills of the student you are modeling with. Sometimes you point to only one picture to match the entire message. Sometimes you're going to point to several pictures to reinforce how a sentence is made or to add more specific vocabulary for a more specific message.
I have more to say. I think this will be fun. Or I have more to say. I don't like that. It's going to be boring. I have an idea. I want to go page. To the movies. Special characters. Turn the page. I want to see a scary movie. Monsters.
Accessibility. What does this mean in practice? You need to have visual language tools available, and you need to get familiar with where the pictures are. This is called fluency. It also means you have to believe that if you model language, that the students will learn. It means that we have to value this teaching so that at some point in the future, our students can then have the ability and the way to say what they want, when they want to say it, to whomever they want. The last part of this message is to remember that learning language and communication skills takes time. As adults supporting the development of skills for students with complex communication needs, we need to ask, how do our intervention practices affect my students learning their augmentative communication system? We need to develop habits to model language and communication at any time. Habits for developing communication skills include routinely ensuring that the augmentative communication system is available, carried around, and modeled in all situations. Aided language modeling. Speak AAC to teach AAC. Thank you for completing this module on aided language modeling.